Hello, dear dreamer. Wherever you are, take a deep, easy breath. And feel your shoulders soften, just a little more with every gentle exhale. Tonight, we drift together, far away from the noise of the day, into a soft, candlelit world where the crackle of a hearth and the hush of a minstrel's tune wait to guide you toward sleep. Feel the weight of your body sink, your head resting heavy, your eyelids warm and calm. A soft breath in, a softer breath out. And as you breathe, you may imagine a quiet tavern beside a still, moonlit moat. Outside, the water laps gently against ancient stones. Inside, the warm glow of candlelight flickers over wooden beams and old oak tables, polished by the hands of countless wanderers before you. You're here now, safe in this hush of old songs and warm air. Our story tonight begins here, in this humble tavern, tucked beside the castle's shadow. Long ago, when knights and scribes still whispered secrets by candlelight, a lone minstrel made his way from village to village, carrying with him a lute carved from driftwood that had once drifted across the wide, restless sea. His name was Arlen. Some called him Arlen of the Dunes. Others simply called him the sea's echo. And tonight, by the crackle of the hearth and the drifting scent of mulled wine and spiced bread, Arlen rests by the tavern's corner, his back against old stone, his eyes half closed as he tunes the strings of his well-worn lute. Let your mind settle here, in this warm corner. Listen for the soft rustle of straw beneath boots, the gentle murmur of villagers huddled close to hear his song. Outside, the wind hums through ancient castle ramparts. The leaves of the orchard sway with a sleepy hush, brushing the old wooden shutters with a sound like whispers. Arlen's fingers, calloused but tender, dance across the strings. A single note, then another, each one gentle and low, weaving a lullaby that floats through the tavern's beams and settles in every quiet corner. They say this lute, carved from salt-kissed driftwood, carries with it the songs of distant shores. And tucked deep within its hollow heart, behind the strings and curved belly, lies a hidden compartment, a secret known only to Arlen and a few trusted souls. In the medieval days, minstrels like Arlen were not just tellers of tales, they were keepers of messages, secret words carried from castle to castle under the cover of music. Inside Arlen's lute, folded tight in waxed cloth, rested letters penned by hands noble and humble alike, whispered confessions, secret alliances, promises to be delivered when the moon was just so. As the strings hum, your mind drifts deeper. You can almost feel the soft flicker of candlelight brushing your cheeks, the smell of honeyed ale and warm bread filling the tavern air. Outside the windows, the moat ripples like silk under the pale light of a rising moon. Tonight, Arlen plays not for kings nor courts, but for those who need rest. His song is a drifting tide, carrying you gently away from the worries of your waking world. Listen to each note. Let it melt into the quiet spaces of your mind. Hear the low hum of voices fading into sleep, the hush of the hearth's embers, the faint creak of wooden beams overhead. With every note, Arlen remembers. He remembers the coastal path where he found the driftwood that became his lute, washed ashore after a storm, bleached by the sun, whispering stories of places far beyond the horizon. He remembers the kindly old carpenter in a seaside village, who carved the lute's curved belly and hollowed its secret chamber. He remembers the first letter he carried, a promise of peace folded small and slipped between the strings. As you listen, imagine the soft sea breeze that once carried that driftwood to shore. Picture gentle waves brushing your ankles, cool sand beneath your feet, the endless hush of water meeting land. Let that hush fill you now, softening your thoughts like grains of sand slipping through your fingertips. Back in the tavern, Arlen's song drifts through the room like a low tide. The villagers close their eyes, drifting half asleep over their cups of mead and simple meals of warm broth and barley bread. The tavern keeper, a round man with kind eyes, leans on the counter, head nodding as the lute's notes fill the rafters. Outside, the castle's lanterns flicker in the gentle wind, their soft golden glow dancing on the water's surface. If you listen closely, you might hear the secret inside Arlen's lute, the faint rustle of parchment, the whispered promise of words meant only for a chosen few. And yet, tonight there are no secrets to keep. Tonight, the only message is this quiet song, wrapped around you like a warm blanket, lulling you deeper into rest. Imagine now that you are drifting too, not just in your bed, but across that same gentle moat, past the castle gates, where soft grass cushions your footsteps. The night air is cool and sweet, scented with distant wood smoke and wild herbs that grow along the castle walls. Each step feels lighter than the last, your body sinking deeper into softness, your thoughts floating like leaves on a calm river. Arlen's fingers never stop. He plays on, eyes closed, swaying gently to the memory of waves and wind. The strings hum with a promise that no matter how far you drift tonight, you are safe here. Safe among whispered secrets, safe among candlelight and old stone and drifting song. Breathe in again, slow, easy, unhurried. Breathe out and feel your thoughts grow softer still. The tavern's walls fade around you, replaced by the hush of a distant shore, the lull of water against the hull of an old wooden boat. Perhaps you drift with Arlen now, the minstrel's tune carrying you to far-off places where dawn waits gently beyond the horizon. The lute's secret is yours too now, a promise carried in wood and string, that every note, every hush, every drifting thought brings you closer to sleep. And as you drift, Arlen's voice hums low, a wordless melody threading through the plucked notes. No words needed, only the soft rise and fall, like your breath, like the tide, like the easy beating of your heart. And so you drift, deeper still, wrapped in candlelight and lullabies of rest, peace. And so we drift, deeper still into the warmth of the minstrel's music. With every gentle note, your breath softens, your heartbeat slows. The soft glow of the tavern wraps around you like a woolen cloak, holding you close as the night hums its secrets beyond the old wooden door. Arlen's eyes flutter open now and then, just enough to glimpse the faces turned toward him, eyes heavy with sleep, lips curled in peaceful half-smiles. His fingers never falter, moving like slow waves over the strings, coaxing out melodies that belong to moonlight and drifting tides. Outside, the moat's quiet waters catch the reflection of the castle's torchlight. Above, the sky is deep and endless, a velvet canvas scattered with stars that seem to sway and wink to the minstrel's lullaby. A soft wind rustles the reeds by the water's edge, their whispering leaves adding a gentle counterpoint to the plucked notes inside. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear that soft breeze now, brushing against your cheek, tugging at your hair, cooling your forehead like a mother's gentle hand. With every sigh of the wind, your thoughts grow lighter. Your mind drifts farther from the day's worries and closer to that still, hushed place where dreams bloom like wildflowers in moonlight. Arlen shifts slightly, leaning closer to the fire's glow. A small log settles deeper into the embers, sending up a tiny swirl of sparks that dance and fade like fleeting wishes. The air smells of pine and warm bread and the faint salt of the moat drifting through a cracked window. A little boy, curled on a bench near Arlen's feet, clutches a piece of soft cloth. His eyes closed, his breathing slow. Arlen's song is his lullaby too, a promise that the night holds nothing but gentle dreams and the hush of old, comforting tales. Long ago, Arlen learned that a song can carry secrets safely through the darkest forests and the coldest stone corridors. Knights and scribes trusted him not because he was strong, but because he was gentle, because his lute's hollow belly hid what needed hiding, and his songs cloaked truths in verses soft as mist. The hidden letters inside his lute tonight are bound for a distant monastery, simple words of forgiveness, a promise of springtime peace. Folded and sealed, they rest beneath the driftwood curve, cradled by old spruce bracing that hums with every plucked string. Perhaps, dear dreamer, you can imagine this secret too, a slip of parchment tucked away in that hollow heart, carried gently on each note that hums through the tavern's beams. Imagine yourself the parchment, weightless and safe, riding the hum of music and the warmth of candlelight. Each note lifts you higher, yet deeper into sleep, a drifting parchment on the minstrel's melody. Somewhere in the rafters, an old barn owl shifts softly, feathers rustling like dry parchment. It watches the gathered villagers with calm, round eyes. The guardian of secrets whispered to the beams, the keeper of dreams that drift upward on hearth smoke. Outside, a horse snorts quietly in the stable, pawing at straw that smells of summer fields long harvested. A distant dog barks once, a soft, far-off sound that fades quickly into the hush of the moat's gentle lap. And inside, the warmth grows deeper. A young woman dozes with her head on a friend's shoulder, her breath slow and steady, hair brushing the edge of her clay mug. A soft trickle of mead spills from the mug's rim, soaking into the wooden table, but no one notices. All eyes are on Arlen, all ears on the soft hush of his strings. Perhaps now you notice how your own breath matches this hush, how your chest rises and falls like the slow tide against a calm shore. The world outside your door fades, replaced by this candlelit sanctuary where even secrets rest easy in the curve of an old driftwood lute. Arlen's eyes close again, and in his mind he sees the shore where he found that driftwood long ago. The waves had pulled it from somewhere far across the sea, a forgotten ship, perhaps, or the trunk of an ancient tree that once bent over salt marshes. He remembers lifting it from the sand, its surface smooth and pale as moonlight, the grain swirling like wind-blown dunes. And now, this piece of sea-worn wood hums under his fingers, alive with new purpose. The bearer of lullabies, the keeper of secrets, the tide that drifts you toward sleep. If you wish, imagine that shore with him now. Picture pale dunes under a crescent moon, the hush of waves sliding up the sand and slipping back again. Your bare feet press into cool, soft grains, each step sinking deeper into rest. The salt breeze tastes clean on your lips, the sky so wide and gentle you feel your thoughts drift into its endless calm. Back in the tavern, the fire sighs as another log settles deeper into ash. A spark pops, a tiny star that flickers and fades, just as your own busy thoughts flicker and fade, replaced by the warmth of the fire and the soft hush of Arlen's tune. A hush like this can hold you, protect you, rock you slowly toward sleep's gentle edge. There is nothing you need to hold on to here. No task, no thought, no worry that can't wait until morning's light finds your window again. Here in this warm circle of song and flame, you are as safe as the letters hidden in Arlen's lute, carried close by the curve of driftwood, guarded by gentle fingers and old faithful strings. So breathe again. Softer now. Let your shoulders loosen a little more, your hands rest heavy where they are. Let the hush fill every space inside you, like warm water filling a quiet tide pool. Each note Arlen plays smooths away the rough edges of your day. Each breath carries you deeper into the hush, deeper into dreams. Outside, the moat's ripples catch the stars, pulling them into little shimmers that dance on the water's dark surface. Inside, the flicker of the hearth matches the gentle sway of Arlen's tune, a flame that burns low and steady, warm enough to hold back the night's chill, soft enough not to wake the sleepers gathered near. And still Arlen plays. And still you drift, wrapped in song and secret, warmth and hush, safe beneath the drifting stars. Feel how the hush settles in your bones now. How the gentle hum of Arlen's lute seems to weave into your breath. Like the tide, it comes and goes, soft and endless, brushing the shore of your thoughts. Outside, the castle's stones sleep too, weathered gray blocks stacked by hands long turned to dust. They've watched centuries drift past. Knights in shining mail, monks with ink-stained fingers, villagers carrying baskets of fresh bread from the ovens at dawn. Tonight they watch you too, a silent promise that you are safe within these ancient walls. Inside, the tavern's beams creak softly as the wind strokes the roof. A faint smell of pine resin rises from the hearth's glowing coals. Somewhere behind the counter, a sleepy hound lifts its head, nose twitching, then curls back into its blanket, sighing through its whiskers. Arlen's song shifts like a breeze, a new melody, gentler still, drifting from an old story he carries inside him. It's a song about a hidden cove, where fishermen once built tiny shelters of driftwood and woven reeds. They believed the cove was protected by sea spirits, guardians of lost ships and wandering souls. In that cove, they say, you could hear the ocean's heart, a low, endless hum like the deep strings of Arlen's lute. When storms raged beyond the rocks, the cove stayed calm, a sanctuary for boats and hearts alike. Perhaps tonight you drift to that cove too. Picture it now, a moonlit inlet sheltered by high cliffs, the water inside so still it mirrors the sky above. Tiny waves lap at smooth pebbles, leaving them cool and shining like polished gems. You kneel and run your fingers through the water. Feel how cool it is, how clear, how gently it accepts the shape of your hand before drifting back to stillness. The hush of the cove is the hush of this tavern, a place where nothing loud or harsh can find you. Just soft plucking, slow breathing, warmth, and secrets folded small beneath the curve of a driftwood lute. In a corner of the tavern, an old woman nods in and out of sleep. Her knitting lies loose in her lap, half a scarf soft as lamb's wool, its end trailing to the floor. She dreams of warm fields and younger days, of dances beneath castle banners and songs like Arlen's carrying her back to her own secret coves of memory. Arlen sees her, he sees them all. He is keeper of the hush, the guardian of quiet places where even grown hearts find rest. His fingers move without thought now, muscle memory born of years on muddy roads, firelit halls, silent castle chambers. Once, long ago, a baron's daughter trusted Arlen with a letter hidden in his lute. Her words, penned by moonlight on borrowed parchment, promised a meeting beneath a willow tree outside the castle walls. There, under its sweeping branches, two souls found freedom that no iron gate could bar. Perhaps, if you listen closely, you can hear her whispered words riding the strings now, sweet secrets of escape and dawn-lit paths. The hidden chamber within the lute holds so many scraps of courage and longing, all safe, all hush, all gently cradled in wood and string. And now, that same hollow heart carries your own sleepy thoughts. Each one slips inside like a folded letter, your worries, your restless turning, your heavy questions. Let Arlen's song carry them for you tonight, safe within the driftwood, hidden until morning's light. Outside the wind shifts. A scatter of dried leaves tumbles across the courtyard stones, scratching softly like quills on parchment. An old wooden sign creaks on its iron bracket, the painted image of a curled fox barely visible in the faint glow of a swinging lantern. Inside, the tavern's warmth wraps around you. The glow from the hearth flickers across low beams, dancing shadows that seem to hum along with Arlen's tune. Each shadow sways like a leaf on a drifting branch, never hurried, never harsh. Let your thoughts sway like that now. Let them loosen their hold, fluttering away on the hush of strings and the warmth of the fire. You have nowhere to be but here. No one to please but the quiet part of your soul that sighs when it hears a gentle song. Arlen closes his eyes again. He hums under his breath, a soft, tuneless sound that laces through the lute's notes like a winding stream through a silent wood. The villagers drift deeper. Some heads rest on tables, some lean into each other, warm and safe and breathing slow. In the rafters, the old barn owl shifts once more, feathers puffed, eyes half-lidded. It knows the secrets of this place, secrets of wandering bards and drifting lutes, of hidden letters and hushed promises. If you wish, you can borrow the owl's eyes now. Drift up above the beams, look down on the tavern's warm hush. See Arlen, small and calm by the fire. See the sleeping villagers, the drowsy hound, the knitting draped like a dream forgotten. See yourself, safe within this circle of warmth and story, your breath a soft tide beneath the hush of the strings. Outside, beyond the moat and the orchard and the shadowed ramparts, the world turns slowly under the moon's watchful eye. But here time rests. Here, your heartbeat and Arlen's song are the only clocks you need. So breathe again, softly in, even softer out. Let each note from the lute settle your bones deeper into softness. Let each chord hum through your chest, warm and steady as an ember. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell tolls the late hour, a slow, muffled chime that drifts through the orchard and across the water. It does not wake the sleepers. It only reminds them that night still holds them, cradles them in her dark, gentle arms. And so the minstrel plays on. His eyes half closed, his mind drifting somewhere between memory and dream. The secret letters inside the lute shift with each chord, a faint rustle no one hears but him, and now you. Together you drift. You, the minstrel, the letters, the owl in the rafters, the sleepy hound. All safe, all warm, all wrapped in the hush of a song that carries the sea in its hollow heart. Now let the warmth settle deeper. Feel the edges of your thoughts softening, your breath smooth and unhurried, like a gentle tide at dusk. Arlen's fingers move slowly now, the tune mellowing into longer, lingering notes that melt into the tavern's beams. His thumb brushes the strings with a care born of years on dusty roads that taught him when to hush his voice, when to let silence carry more than words ever could. The old sign outside, the fox curled beneath painted vines, creaks again in the wind. It's been there for a century, maybe more, marking this little haven for travelers who need warmth and rest and a safe place to lay secrets down for the night. Tonight you are one of them, a traveler welcomed without question, wrapped in candlelight and the scent of hearth smoke and spiced bread. There is nothing you must do now but listen, and drift, and let the lullaby carry you farther from the day's rough edges. In the far corner, a young stable hand dozes, boots kicked off, feet tucked beneath a thick wool blanket. His dreams are of fields in summer, soft green hills rolling under a warm sun, horses grazing at the edge of a stream. Perhaps you can see those fields too, soft underfoot, the hum of insects and the breeze stirring wildflowers. The song from Arlen's lute becomes that breeze, steady, almost invisible, yet it moves through everything. It lifts your hair at your temples, brushes your forehead like the hush of a mother's whisper. Each note a breath of wind carrying you farther into fields of sleep. And when your mind drifts to the hidden letters again, think of how carefully they were written. Ink made from oak galls and iron salts, ground by candlelight, dark and steady on creamy parchment. Each word a hope, a wish, a promise that dawn will come gentle and sure, and secrets can find their way to forgiving hands. Arlen feels the weight of those folded pages, not heavy but certain. He has carried worse burdens, news of wars brewing in cold stone keeps, pleas for mercy, confessions too heavy for trembling lips to speak aloud. But tonight's words are softer, the kind that mend rather than break. Outside, the moat sighs against its stones. A frog hidden in the reeds croaks once, then falls silent, as if even it knows to respect the hush that wraps this place tonight. The barn owl lifts its head again, eyes shining in the shadows, feathers catching a sliver of firelight. It blinks slowly, once, twice, then settles its head beneath a wing, surrendering to sleep's gentle pull. Arlen's mind drifts too, to the coastline where he found the driftwood for his lute. He sees the pale arc of the beach under a winter sun, hears the cry of distant gulls, tastes the salt on the wind that tangled his hair. He remembers how the wood felt in his hands, smooth yet strong, carrying the sea's story in its knots and whirls. It seemed to hum when he touched it, as if it recognized him, a wanderer like itself, a keeper of whispers washed up from distant shores. He shaped it with careful hands, planing the curve, hollowing the belly, fitting it with strings spun from gut and patience. When he finished, he tucked the hidden chamber inside, a hollow space only he could find, where truth could hide and still travel safely. Perhaps you can imagine his hands now, calloused but gentle, moving over the strings the same way they moved over that pale wood. Each pluck and strum a quiet promise that tonight you are safe here, watched over by driftwood and hush, by candle flame and kindly secrets. In the hush, you hear the tavern breathe, the slow sighs of sleepers, the soft groan of settling beams, the hush of wind slipping through a crack in the shutters. Outside, the orchard branches sway in the moonlight, old gnarled boughs that remember many winters, many springs. Once, villagers believed that sleeping beneath an orchard tree on a full moon's night would bring dreams of true love and gentle fortune. So if you wish, drift there now. In your mind's eye, see yourself lying in soft grass beneath a blossoming branch. Petals drift down, brushing your face like silk, each one carrying away another worry, another restless thought. Arlen's song is the breeze that shakes those blossoms loose. His notes the hush that carries them to you, one by one, soft and silent. And the petals gather around you like a blanket, pale and fragrant, covering you in a hush of moonlit dreams. Breathe in and out. Feel how the grass yields beneath you, cool and gentle, the earth holding you as softly as the minstrel's tune. In the tavern, a single candle flickers low. Its wax drips onto the rough oak table, forming a tiny pool of cooled white that catches the glimmer of the hearth. A soft creak of the door, just the wind tugging at the latch, nothing more. No one enters to break the hush, no loud voices to scatter the drifting dreams. Just you, the hush, the warm walls, the secret letters folded safely away in driftwood's hollow heart. Arlen's eyelids droop. He, too, drifts as he plays. His mind half here, half far away on some winding road that calls him when the dawn comes to chase the shadows from the stones. But for now, there is only this hush, only the soft cradle of strings, the slow swirl of embers, the warmth that says, sleep, rest, dream. And you are there too. Drifting safe, a secret folded away until morning. Feel how easily your breath flows now. A tide of warmth rising and falling. Each exhale a gentle promise that tonight you are cared for, cradled in the hush that hums from Arlen's lute. The notes spill like moonlight across the tavern floor, pale and silvery, softening the edges of rough-hewn tables and time-worn benches. They touch each sleeping soul like the brush of a feather. The stable hand, the old woman with her half-finished scarf, the dreaming hound curled tight by the hearth. Outside, the moat laps lazily at its banks. Somewhere across the orchard wall, an old fox pads through fallen leaves, its paws whispering over moss and root. It pauses by the edge of the water, nose lifted to the breeze, then disappears into the darkness, carrying its own secret paths beneath the stars. Inside, the hush holds steady. Arlen leans closer to the strings now, his breath stirring the fine hairs along the lute's curved back. He hums low and soft, a thread of melody that weaves through the notes like mist curling around candle flame. He remembers a time when he played for lords and ladies in high-vaulted halls, echoes of silk gowns rustling over rush-covered floors, the distant chime of bells calling monks to midnight prayer. Yet here, in this humble tavern, with driftwood cradled in his arms, the song feels truer somehow, closer to the heartbeat of quiet things that wish only to rest. You can almost see the letters hidden within the lute's belly, thin parchment folded crisp, ink still dark where hope clings to each word. A promise of safe passage, a confession of love forbidden yet fearless. A simple wish scribbled by trembling hands that dare to trust a traveling minstrel's care. And Arlen guards them all, not with swords or iron gates, but with hush and melody, with the steady pluck of strings that hush the world outside these walls. The fire pops softly, sending a curl of sparks drifting up the chimney. They join the hush too, tiny stars of ember glow that rise and vanish into the night beyond the tavern roof. You might imagine yourself as one of those sparks, weightless and warm, drifting skyward through the rafters, past the slumbering owl, out into the night's wide cradle. See how the orchard spreads beneath you, silvered by moonlight, each branch a lacework of shadows on dewy grass. And farther still, the castle looms, not forbidding but timeless, its stones softened by centuries of rain and stories and whispered prayers. Behind its high walls, the great hall slumbers too, tapestries fluttering in the draught, banners drooping like tired wings. Somewhere in that great hall, a lone candle flickers by a scribe's desk, a scrap of parchment half filled with neat, looping letters. Perhaps another secret meant for the minstrel's lute, a plea for freedom, a map sketched in haste, a dream tucked inside the driftwood's hollow heart. But tonight, the scribe has fallen asleep too, head pillowed on his ink-stained sleeve, breath deep and slow, candlelight dancing over his closed eyes. Back in the tavern, Arlen's fingers slow, his tune winding down like a river slipping into still water. Yet even as the notes grow fewer, each one lingers longer, stretching the hush until it fills every corner, every beam, every drifting thought. He lifts his gaze, sees the circle of sleepers, his gentle audience of dreamers and wanderers. He smiles to himself, eyes soft and kind beneath the shadow of his hood. Once he might have dreamed of gold, of praise sung in crowded courts. But now he dreams only of this: a circle of warmth in a cold night, a hush so deep it carries secrets safely through the dark. His thumb brushes the last note from the strings, a sigh more than a sound, a whisper to sleep. It drifts through the tavern, out the cracked shutters, over the orchard, across the still moat. In its wake, silence blooms, not empty, but full of breath and warmth and the gentle promise that all is well, just as it is. Outside, the old fox pauses again, nose lifted to catch the echo of the final chord. It nods as if to some memory it carries in its blood, then slips away beneath the orchard's boughs, its paws silent on the mossy earth. Inside, Arlen lowers the lute to his lap, his fingers resting on its smooth, salt-kissed wood. He closes his eyes, head bowing as sleep tugs gently at the edges of his thoughts too. But before he drifts, he feels the hollow in the driftwood's heart, the secret chamber warm against his palm. He knows the letters are safe there, knows they will travel with him at dawn, carried farther by the hush than any armored guard could promise. And so, under the watchful rafters and the sleeping owl, under the hush of coals and breath and dreams, the minstrel lets the night cradle him too. His song remains, even in silence, a lullaby woven into the beams, into the floorboards, into your drifting heart. So breathe again, softly in, even softer out. Know that the song stays with you now, a hush tucked gently behind your eyelids, ready to carry you wherever you wish to drift. Perhaps you'll wander the orchard paths beneath a full moon. Perhaps you'll find the hidden cove where sea spirits hum through driftwood bones. Perhaps you'll follow the old fox's secret trail through the sleeping castle's orchard. Wherever you drift, the minstrel's lute hums at your side, a gentle keeper of hush and secrets, a promise that night is kind and soft and waiting for your dreams. But for now, there is only this hush, only the soft cradle of strings, the slow swirl of embers, the warmth that says, sleep, rest, dream. And you are there too, drifting safe, a secret folded away until morning. Let your eyelids grow heavier still. The hush is wide enough to hold you, warm enough to keep you drifting gently, with no hurry at all. Outside the tavern walls, the night folds itself like a velvet cloak around stone and timber. The orchard trees sway in small secret dances, their blossoms drifting down like snow, soft petals that kiss the earth and wait for the dawn. Inside, the hearth flickers low, its glow a cradle of embers that hums in time with the lute's last note, still echoing in the quiet corners. You can almost hear the old oak beams sigh, wood that's watched centuries pass in whispers, never rushing, always holding each hush as a gift. Arlen's breathing is slow, deep, the breath of someone who has learned that silence can be as golden as song. His thoughts drift to the road that waits for him when morning lifts the first blue light over the moat and orchard. He thinks of the secret letters hidden inside the driftwood heart, the inked promises and whispered truths folded so small they weigh nothing, yet mean everything to the hands that will one day open them. In the old days, when castles rose new and bright, messengers on horseback risked storms and swords and sleepless nights to carry such secrets. But a minstrel with a lute, no one suspects the music carries more than a melody. And so he hums again, half asleep now, a tune so low it blends with the hiss of the last log on the hearth. He hums for the orchard fox, for the barn owl perched above the door, for you too, the quiet listener curled close to the hush, heart beating in time with the drifting notes. Maybe you see the road ahead as he does, a ribbon of pale dirt winding through fields still silver with dew, through hamlets where window shutters swing in the dawn breeze. Sometimes he will pause by an old well to draw water that tastes of stone and deep earth. Sometimes he will sleep under the spread of an ancient yew, whose roots remember stories older than any castle wall. And always the driftwood lute will rest by his side, the hidden letters safe inside its hollow belly, secrets carried not by armored guards, but by a hush and a song. Listen closer. Imagine you are there with him, walking barefoot on that dawn road, the earth cool beneath your soles, the world just waking. Birdsong weaves through the hedgerows, blackbirds and robins whispering news of the sun's slow climb. A soft breeze moves through your hair, lifts your worries like dried leaves, scatters them to the hedgerows where they settle and vanish. Each step lighter than the last, each breath an uncoiling of what you no longer need to hold. You pause with Arlen at a wayside shrine, a stone figure weathered by centuries of rain and hope. Travelers tuck sprigs of rosemary there for safe passage, tie scraps of cloth to the low branches overhead, prayers that flutter in the wind like tiny sails. Arlen dips his head, touches the lute's neck in silent thanks for another night of safe shelter, another hearth where hush and song are welcome. You stand beside him, feeling the hush wrap around you like the softest cloak. He lifts the lute again, strums a single chord that echoes like a distant bell. It rings through the orchard behind you, across the moat's sleeping water, back to the tavern beams that remember the hush. In this hush, your own secret dreams find safe passage, drifting from your mind like parchment letters, folded and hidden away in the driftwood's hollow place. They wait there, safe and warm, until you wish to open them again, when the night is gentle, when the hush returns. A soft bird call now. First notes of dawn's choir. Somewhere, a stable hand stirs, half awake but not quite ready to rise. A hearth log shifts with a muted sigh, sending up one last puff of warm, fragrant smoke. The barn owl blinks open its wide, patient eyes. It watches the hush a moment longer, then spreads its silent wings and lifts into the orchard shadows, feathers brushing the moon's edge before slipping from sight. Perhaps you follow it in your thoughts, gliding above orchard paths, over hedgerows and low stone walls, drifting higher where mist hovers over sleeping fields. Up there, the world feels softer, every worry a distant echo below, every breath adrift on midnight's lullaby. And when you settle back into your own warmth, the hush beside Arlen's slowing heart, the hush that hums through driftwood strings, you find your dreams waiting like folded letters. Still here, still safe, carried gently wherever you wish to wander next. So breathe again. In through your nose, slow and sweet. Out through parted lips, softer than a whisper. Let your eyelids flutter like the orchard's petals, drifting shut, drifting open, then shut again. The hush will hold you here, through the slow tilt of night into dawn. Outside, the castle's highest tower catches the first pale thread of morning. Inside the tavern, the last candle flickers low, the wax pooled like moon milk on the old oak table. Arlen's hands rest on the driftwood lute, guardian of hush, keeper of secrets, cradle of dreams. In this lullaby's final notes, you are part of the hush too, your thoughts folded safe in a hidden chamber, your breath woven into the song. So rest now. Sleep, dream, drift. The minstrel's secret lute will carry you gently, softly, deeper into the hush. Feel the hush settle over your shoulders now, like a woolen cloak warmed by firelight, soft and heavy enough to quiet every restless thought. Beyond the tavern walls, the first threads of dawn are weaving pale gold into the orchard mist. Petals stir on the branches, trembling in the early breeze like tiny sails waiting to drift away. And under that gentle stir, the moat laps softly at its banks, each ripple a lullaby for the stones it kisses in passing. Inside, the embers whisper their final warmth into the hush. A stray spark flickers up the chimney's throat, carrying with it a memory of song that lingers even after the last note fades. Arlen shifts slightly where he sits, the driftwood lute cradled close to his chest. His thumb brushes over the smooth curve, tracing the hidden seam where the hollow chamber keeps its secret safe. He remembers when he first discovered this hidden space, a secret passed from an old master who had once carried coded missives for a distant queen. They say, long ago, some lutes bore messages written in lemon juice, invisible to prying eyes, revealed only by the warmth of a flame. Perhaps Arlen's driftwood once held such a whisper, a promise that changed the path of kingdoms, a single word that turned tides in stone halls far from this quiet tavern. Now, in the hush, the only message is the one you carry inside you, your softest wish, folded small as a feather, safe in the driftwood's heart for the night. Outside, The orchard fox has curled itself into a den of tangled roots, tail tucked over nose, ears twitching at the soft hush of dawn birds waking one by one. Their calls are gentle, like the plucking of new strings on the minstrel's lute, a promise that the world keeps singing even when you sleep. Imagine you are the fox for a moment, fur brushed by fallen petals, paws hidden in cool soil, heart slowed to match the hush of earth and root. You dream fox dreams of moonlit paths, of mice that dart like shadows through orchard grass, of the faraway hush of the moat's gentle lap. Back inside, Arlen's eyelids flutter, the hush of his breath deep and steady now. Perhaps he dreams of the coast where the driftwood was found, a salt-washed cove where waves speak secrets to the stones, where gulls wheel overhead and the wind hums a tune older than any castle wall. You can drift there too if you wish. See the pale sand, the tangled nets, the driftwood gathered after a storm, each piece carrying whispers of distant tides. A fisherman's wife once told Arlen that some driftwood carries the voices of sailors lost at sea, that if you hold it to your ear, you might hear their final songs. He listened once on a quiet night like this, and though he heard no words, he felt the hush, the same hush that now hums through the tavern beams, through the orchard leaves, through the breath that lulls you deeper. Soften your shoulders now. Let your jaw slacken, your hands uncurl. Feel how the hush seeps into every corner of your mind, smoothing the last restless thought. Outside the tavern door, the path winds on, past the orchard, over the moat's wooden bridge, beyond the castle's high gate. In your mind's eye, you can walk that path with Arlen when he rises at dawn. You might see him pause to dip his fingers in the moat's cold water, watching the ripples drift away like the softest secrets. You might see him tighten the strap across his shoulder, the driftwood lute secure against his side, the hidden letters safe, the hush carried with each step. He will pass the sleeping orchard fox. He will nod to the barn owl settled back in its hollow, feathers fluffed against the morning chill. He will tread softly so as not to wake the innkeeper's daughter, still dreaming behind the upstairs shutters, her thoughts perhaps wrapped around the last notes of his song. And when he reaches the road's bend, he will look back once, a silent promise that the hush lingers for those who wish to find it again. He knows the road ahead holds many small taverns and hearths like this one, each waiting for hush and song, for secrets carried safely through the night. And you, drifting now, are part of that hush too, your breath one with the hush of the orchard, the hush of the moat, the hush of a secret tucked in driftwood and carried by song. So breathe once more. A slow inhale, gathering warmth and quiet. A softer exhale, releasing all that needs to slip away. In the cradle of hush, there is nothing more to do tonight. No worry to carry, no thought to chase. Only the hush remains, warm as dawn's first light brushing the tavern's thatch. The minstrel sleeps now. The lute rests easy across his lap, its hidden chamber cradling all that must stay safe till morning. The hearth hums low, the embers barely sigh, the orchard breathes its slow blossom hush. And you drift with it all, carried by the soft pluck of strings, the lull of fox dreams, the hush that promises you are safe. So close your eyes now, if they have not already drifted shut. Feel the hush settle around you, soft as driftwood worn smooth by waves. Sleep comes on the hush's breath, quiet, warm, forever gentle. Feel your shoulders melt, as if each thought you carried slips away into the hush that wraps this small, secret hour. The candle's final thread of flame flickers once more before sinking into the pool of wax, leaving only the ember glow of the hearth to cast shadows that dance like gentle spirits across the tavern's beams. Outside the shuttered window, the orchard sighs beneath dawn's touch. A faint rustle of branches, the hush of leaves brushing one another, a lullaby of bark and blossom drifting into the moat's waiting ripples. The minstrel, curled in his corner near the fire, breathes in that hush. His dreams stir with half-formed melodies, snatches of tunes gathered from all the roads he's walked. A wedding song hummed by a young bride in a stone chapel by the sea. A cradle song whispered by a farmer's wife as she rocked her babe beneath a low, thatched roof. Every note settles now in the driftwood lute, the secret hollow inside echoing softly with the hum of countless hearts that once trusted their messages to a simple minstrel's tune. Perhaps you feel the warmth of those hidden songs, folded like silk inside the wood. Messages not only of kingdoms and secrets, but of ordinary hopes. A safe return, a lover's promise, a blessing for a child yet unborn. Long ago, bards like Arlen were welcome in every hall because they carried news, but also because they carried hush. A hush that gathered folk near the hearth, slowed their thoughts, softened the hard edges of the day's toil. Now that hush is yours too. It spills like warm honey into every space your mind holds open for it. It gathers under your ribs, softens your chest, lengthens your breath until your whole body hums with the slow pulse of rest. Outside the tavern door, the orchard fox lifts its head, sniffing the gentle dawn air. It yawns, a pink tongue curling in the soft hush, then settles deeper into its den of roots and fallen petals. A pair of robins begin their shy conversation in the hedgerow. One note, then another, then silence, as if they too feel the hush must not yet be broken. They wait for the sun to tip higher, for the castle's stone to catch firelight and warm its ancient bones. Arlen shifts, the driftwood lute still cradled against his side. His fingers, half-curled, brush the strings in sleep, a faint ghost of a chord that hums like a heartbeat through the hush. And perhaps, if you listen very softly, you can hear the hush whisper back. It speaks not in words but in feelings, the safety of moss underfoot, the comfort of firelight dancing on worn timbers, the promise that the secrets you hold are safe for now, hidden in the hollow chamber of the minstrel's drifting dreams. You can wander now if you wish, further along the hush's winding path. See yourself step from the tavern door, toes brushing dewy grass as you move through the orchard's dappled shade. Petals cling to your hair, soft and cool, a crown of hush that drifts with you past the moat's murmuring banks. Maybe you pause at the wooden bridge, leaning over to watch the water catch first light, a pale ribbon that carries dreams downriver, over stones smoothed by centuries of slow hush. You follow it with your mind's eye, past the orchard's edge, beneath an arched stone gate where vines hang heavy with morning dew. Beyond, the road waits, a pale ribbon winding through sleepy fields, under hedgerows alive with small waking rustles. And always you carry the hush with you, the same hush that hums in the minstrel's hidden letters, that drifts in the secret space between each plucked note of his driftwood lute. Perhaps, somewhere ahead on that pale road, you find a low stone wall to sit upon. The sun warms your shoulders. You watch as Arlen appears, lute slung across his back, footfalls soft on the damp earth. He pauses when he sees you, nods once as if to say, the hush walks with you too. He settles beside you, rests the lute on his knees. With gentle fingers, he plucks a single string, then another, each note drifting like a soft feather on the hush between you. No words are needed here. No secrets spoken aloud. Only the hush and the quiet promise that this moment, this warmth, this drifting breath is enough. A field mouse scurries near your boot, pauses, then slips into the hedgerow, carrying its own secret hush back to its hidden nest. A butterfly flutters past, wings trembling in the rising light, a tiny hush carried on a breeze that smells of wild thyme and new grass. In this soft dream path, you may rest as long as you wish. The road is patient. The hush is patient. The minstrel's song is patient too, each note waiting for you to drift deeper, softer, freer. So breathe once more. In slow as dawn mist over the moat. Out, softer than the fox's sigh beneath orchard roots. Let your thoughts sink like pebbles through clear water, one by one, slipping past each ripple, until they settle on the hush at the bottom of your mind's deep pool. There all is quiet. There, the minstrel's secret lute plays only for you, a cradle of hush for your heart to rest in. And as you linger in this drift, remember, every time you close your eyes, you may return here. The orchard, the moat, the hush behind the tavern door, all waiting patient as dawn's first light. Sleep is here now, curling close to your temples, nestling at the base of your throat. Sleep hums through your shoulders, your arms, your palms resting so loosely, so gently on the hush of your own quiet breath. The minstrel dreams. The lute dreams. And you drift deeper still. Allow your breath to slow again, like ripples spreading across the moat's dark surface, softer, wider, until they become part of the hush that cradles this quiet dawn. Inside the tavern, a single coal glows in the hearth, its gentle heat breathing warmth into old stones and polished floorboards. The air smells of spent candle wax and wood smoke, a tender reminder that the night's hush has been here all along, holding you safe. Arlen shifts in his sleep, the driftwood lute pressed close as though it, too, dreams beside him. Perhaps it does, carrying songs from distant harbors, each note salted by sea winds, each hidden message folded like parchment in the hollow of its heart. Outside, the orchard fox dreams as well, its nose twitching as it chases dream rabbits through moonlit underbrush. A single apple falls from a low branch, landing in soft grass with only the faintest hush, too gentle to wake the fox, too gentle to break your drifting calm. Beyond the orchard, the moat's slow water carries a promise downstream, a soft murmur against stone walls that remember the touch of armored boots, the hush of whispered plans, the sigh of sentries keeping watch while others dream. And above it all, the sky warms by degrees, dawn slipping silver threads into the fabric of night. A barn owl glides once more across the orchard, wings spread wide in one final arc before settling in its hollow to sleep away the day. If you wish, you may drift with the owl for a moment. Feel the hush of feathers brushing cool air, the hush of wings folding against soft breast down as it finds its secret nook among the beams of an old barn. In its hollow, the owl keeps watch over mouse trails and orchard roots, over the fox's den and the moat's slow curl. It blinks once, twice, then tucks its head beneath a wing, becoming part of the hush that drapes the world like a velvet blanket. Back inside the tavern, the hush deepens. A floorboard creaks, not from weight, but from the old wood's gentle sigh as it settles into day's first warmth. A shutter shifts on its iron hinge, letting in a pale blade of light that spills across Arlen's boots and the lute's worn neck. In that hush, you can imagine the secrets hidden inside. Old letters written in cramped, looping script, coded messages that changed hands beneath moonlight, promises that waited in silence, carried across borders on the minstrel's back. Once, a queen's seal pressed wax over the edge of such a letter, a simple curl of ribbon tucked into the lute's hollow, safe from prying eyes. That seal, like your thoughts tonight, rests undisturbed in the quiet cradle of the hush. And now, the hush is yours to seal too. Every worry softened, every restless thought folded small and set gently into your own secret chamber of calm. Outside, the hedgerow rustles, a pair of finches greeting the dawn with tiny, tentative notes. Their song is not loud, not sharp, only a hush of melody that threads through orchard branches and floats over the moat's glassy surface. You feel the hush of those notes in your chest, light as down, easy as drifting petals. A single breath, a single heartbeat, each pulse softer than the last. Arlen's chest rises and falls in time with yours. His dreams a quiet mirror of your own. Perhaps he dreams he is once more a boy at the edge of the sea, feet sinking in cool sand, driftwood washing up after a storm, ready to be carved into something that carries hush and song and secret promises all at once. He watches the tide slip in, slip out, each wave a gentle hush against worn stones. He gathers the wood, feels the salt sting his fingertips, imagines the songs it will one day hold. And when he lifts his eyes, he sees you there too, drifting along the tidal, your footprints filling softly with water that carries the hush back to sea. In this drift, you can walk that beach with him, your breath a slow hush that matches the lull of surf, your thoughts dissolving like foam where sand and sea meet. Maybe you find a piece of driftwood too, smooth as river stone, etched with tiny channels where the ocean whispered its secrets before leaving it at your feet. You lift it, feel its weight, light enough to carry, strong enough to hold a hush that will stay with you long after this night drifts away. And in that hush, you feel the warmth of the tavern hearth, the hush of the orchard fox's den, the soft cradle of the barn owl's hollow, all of it weaving together into a single promise. You are safe. You are still. You are drifting. So let your shoulders soften once more. Let your hands rest, palms open to the hush. Feel the driftwood of your thoughts, hollowed of worry, smoothed by the tides of sleep. Outside, the moat glimmers beneath dawn's soft kiss. Inside, the last ember sighs its warmth into your dreams. And Arlen's secret lute holds it all. Every note, every letter, every hush that carries you deeper into calm. Breathe in, the hush of the orchard, the lull of the drifting moat, the faint warmth still curling from the tavern hearth. Breathe out. The hush that slips through your ribs, down your arms, into your fingertips, leaving only softness behind. In this hush, the minstrel's secret lute hums with you. Its driftwood heart carries all the letters it has ever hidden, every whispered vow, every promise tucked inside when the world was too noisy to hold it aloud. And now it holds yours too, your quiet wish for rest, your hope for dreams that wrap you warm and safe until the day comes gentle through the shutters. Perhaps you dream now that you are back at the tavern's door, pushing it open with the softest creak, stepping inside to find Arlen awake at last. His eyes warm, the lute resting across his knees. He greets you not with words, but with the hush of a smile, a nod that says, "You've carried your hush well, friend. Sit with me once more." You find your place by the hearth, the embers sighing their final warmth into the space between you. He strums the lute, one note, then another, the driftwood singing soft as dawn birds in orchard boughs. In each note is a piece of all you've dreamed, the hush of the sea that once carved the wood smooth, the hush of the barn owl in its hollow, the hush of fox fur curling under bramble roots. You close your eyes. You hear the strings hum like a heartbeat, steady, patient, unhurried. You feel the hush settle deeper still, weaving itself into your bones until you, too, are part of the lute's secret chamber. The minstrel hums a melody under his breath, nothing you need to understand, only a cradle of notes that holds you soft and loose as sleep. Somewhere beyond the orchard, the moat's waters slip onward, carrying their hush downstream to where the river waits. Beyond the river, green fields open wide, carrying the hush to new orchards, new hedgerows, new driftwood waiting on distant shores. And always the minstrel's secret lute drifts beside you, its hollow heart a promise that every secret can rest, every worry can hush, every thought can soften into dream. So breathe once more. A hush for your mind. Breathe again, a hush for your heart. Breathe out. A hush for your limbs, warm and heavy and safe. If you wish, imagine you place your own letter inside the lute's hidden hollow, a promise folded in moonlit parchment, a simple note that says, "Here I rest. Here I drift. Here I dream." Arlen closes the latch with care, a secret held safe until you wish to open it again. He nods once more, the hush of his smile saying all that needs to be said. The embers settle into their last red glow. The orchard fox yawns once, deep in its den. The barn owl sleeps in its hollow, feathers fluffed against the day's light. And you drift in the hush, a drifting lullaby carried on a minstrel's soft chord, a secret forever safe in the chamber of a lute carved from the sea. Here there is no hurry. Here there is only the hush. Here there is only your breath, drifting, soft, endless. Sleep now, gentle dreamer. Sleep and drift and rest. And when you wake, the hush will still be waiting, soft as dawn, deep as the moat, secret as a minstrel's hidden song. Good night. Sleep well. Sleep deep.